Today we're joined by someone very, very unique, someone that's who's also a stutterer, but also is an SLP. SLP is a speech-language pathologist, and we're joined by Travis Althaus, and he is someone who does stutter, SLP, but his 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 style is a bit different from our traditional ways. He focuses more on lifestyle changes and we'll get into it. Appreciate you, Travis, for taking your time out of your day, joining our podcast. Um, introduce yourself, and tell them a bit about yourself, man.
Yeah. So I'm Travis, and I uh, uh, I stutter. I at first started stuttering when I was uh, 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 8 years old. Saw speech therapists uh, off and on from then to my early 20s. I've probably seen about a dozen different speech therapists in total, and then in my late 20s, I decided to become one myself. So I've been doing that for a few years now, and this past year started posting videos about stuttering on the big platforms at Travis Stuttering as a way to spread awareness and education about stuttering.
That's awesome, man. That's exactly how I found you, man. I found you on TikTok because now my whole feed is about stuttering now since I've
Yeah,
been posting out so my whole feed is about stuttering, and you have a unique perspective about it because it's 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 not just recording yourself, but it's actually you doing the daily life of a person that stutters. If if you're a stutterer or not, I highly recommend checking them out because it's very inspirational and it gives you a more perspective on what stuttering is. I'm sure I'm sure you get it nowadays. Like people like who think about stuttering is like, oh, I stutter too, or my uncle stutters because he might get stuck at one word every 80 words or like every dozen of words. He might get stuck at one word, but with your perspective and you doing all those videos, give it a different perspective and yeah, I hope you guys check them out. Definitely will put you up there so everybody can check you out. But
thanks.
man, I'm sure you being an SLP and also working with people that do stutter. Um, um, what made you want to become an SLP, especially since you're a stutterer, and what?
So I I I kind of have a round about way that I became a speech therapist, and kind of selfishly too. I I at first graduated from undergrad with a major in history and a minor in business, and then took like 6 years off after that. Did a lot of travel, and just kind of felt like I didn't really have much of a purpose. But each summer, I had been returning to this intensive stuttering workshop based in Washington, called the Successful Stuttering Management Program, and and I kept going back as like a helper role, and then the speech therapist there just said, "Hey, you're good at this. You also stutter. You should be a speech therapist." And so I I applied to grad school, and and got in, and I kind of did it because I just didn't know what else to do, and I also thought, oh, okay. Well, if I'm a speech therapist, then I'm probably working on my own speech a lot too. So that could be good for me. And so, like, I knew would help others, but kind of selfishly, I thought, oh man, I could really help out with my own stutter. And yeah, so that's kind of why I got into it, but it's grown into so much more than that, though.
Definitely, definitely, man. Who better? Who better than somebody that stutters to teach, or not even teach somebody not to stutter? Because you're never gonna not stutter.
Yeah.
But like, what better person to have across you to help you out with your stutter? Someone that actually knows what you're going through. And then I'm pretty sure that's a lot of your clients are thinking about. Are thinking about, okay, if he stutters, I stutter. He knows what he's talking about because I'm sure he has gone through the same way I'm going to. So I'm pretty sure a lot of your clients have had positive reactions with you being their SLP and all that stuff. But has that been an issue with other with clients before, or or did the clients uh, really how has that been dealing with clients?
Yeah, so I'm currently at a private practice that focuses on stuttering therapy. So my clients there are are really great. They really appreciate that I stutter, that I get what they're going through. I can resonate with them on a deeper level than most speech therapists can. My previous setting that I worked at was a skilled nursing facility. So mostly people that are between ages like 50 and 100, who are either too sick to stay in the hospital, but not healthy enough to return home, or or this was kind of like the place where they just lived out their
Mhm.
remaining years, and most of them were super cool with my stutter. Once I explained, hey, this is what's going on. This is what you can expect. Some were not cool. Cool.
For sure.
There's one dude who he looked like he was about to punch me because of my stutter, and he refused to work with me. I don't really know what triggered him about it, but it was definitely my stutter, though. Unfortunately,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Definitely no. And it's cool that you're talking about that part of the SLP world because um I my girlfriend is also an SLP, but she works at a nursing at a nursing home. So if any studies are looking to finding a partner, make sure they're an SLP. That's Chico to life, man. Chico to life. Trust me, that's free therapy for life.
dude.
But
Well, there kind of is something to stutterers winding up with speech therapists, though. No, 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 not for myself, but I've got some other friends where that's just been the case too.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But it's kind of funny, ironic, but yeah, that's cool that you shared that point because no one really know. Like I personally, like, before I met my girlfriend, I thought SLPs only focused on stuttering and stuttering this, but then I was like, no, there's much more to stuttering. Like, much more to speech language pathologists instead of just stuttering. So that's cool that you shared that because I'm sure a lot of people that do stutter do not know much more about what an SLP does.
Applied to grad school, I assumed, okay, my clients will stutter, or they'll have trouble saying their R's. That's probably about it.
Yeah.
And good lord, there's so much more to it. Pretty much anything from the neck up.
Hmm.
That's a speech therapist.
It is.
Whether it's swallowing, cognition, uh, language, and speech.
Yeah, no, definitely it is. But now let's hop outside your SLP life. I know you told me you don't focus on the traditional version of speech therapy. What type of therapy do you? Um, I don't want you to give out your whole moneymaker stuff, but but just give us a little a preview. Like, how do you work with your patients? Like, how do you help them out to achieve what they want to achieve?
Yeah. Well, so it's still pretty traditional, but they're they're kind of two main schools of thought when it comes to stuttering therapy. One is like, hey, you stutter. That's okay. Uh, let's try to increase your awareness around your your stuttering, and what's going on, and your body, so you can stutter a little bit easier. And then the other school of thought is more so, hey, you stutter. Let's try not to. Let's try and get you to be perceived as fluent as possible. And I am much more in a balance of both of those. The that first route where we increase awareness and acceptance is so great. But
Mhm.
at the same time, there will be moments when you are tired of stuttering, and and sometimes it's not really practical
Mhm.
to be stuck on a word for 30 seconds.
Mhm.
And and so would also teach some strategies to better manage stuttering. So you're less likely to stutter as much uh, uh, and as hard. And I'm not using those strategies now. Just
Mhm.
just so people know, I specifically choose to let my stutter out during recordings to increase awareness about what stuttering can look and sound like to hopefully normalize it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I saw that one video you put up. It was recording myself, editing myself with a stutter. You didn't stutter at all, and when you did the whole non edit, you can really tell. I feel like sometimes I'm sure you went through this when you're younger, and I went through this, and a lot of people I've done interviews with have tried to hide it a lot growing up because we don't have that. We didn't have what we know today about stuttering, and I feel a lot of people never accepted it growing up, and the interviews I've had with the other SOPs have been a lot about talking about like accepting it. This is gonna be you, yeah. Um, because reason why? Because it won't go away. It could get better with techniques and stuff like that, but it's not gonna go away. It's not gonna go away because there's no cure for it. And a lot of the SOPs I've talked to, and it's more of accepting it. Okay, we accept it, and now we're gonna do about it. And also the mental part of it too. I feel the mental part of it was never a thing before. And in elementary, it was more of just, hey Matt, I want you to tap your finger every time you say a word, or prolongations, or like if you get stuck, I want you to stop, repeat it again. So all that stuff works temporary, I think, to me myself. Temporary stuff, but it's not a way to fix it. But but um what is something that you as a stutterer, I don't want to say it makes you different from other SOPs, but what, like, I know we talked about how you could relate to the with the client, stuff like that. But outside of that, how can damn, fuck, I have the question here. What is something you've learned from stuttering that you think most speech therapists um do not fully understand?
Ooh, is this about stuttering? specifically, or 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 how it can relate to the field of speech therapy.
Let's do especially on some stutter.
Yeah. Well, boy, I I I I think from me stuttering and going through loads of different speech therapists over the years, you you kind of get a better sense of like, oh, okay, this person doesn't really know what they're talking about. Doesn't really know um, how to like handle sessions. Shoot. Um, Stuttering though, because there's no cure. I think a lot of speech therapists go in into practice thinking, okay, cool. I've got these strategies that I'll work with different clients on, whether it's stuttering or or whatever else they're working on.
Mm-hmm.
And most speech therapists, I think, expect to see results, whether they happen quickly
Mm-hmm.
or progressively, but they all kind of expect the client to reach a stage where it's like, okay, cool, you're good. Your speech problem is fixed. Um, Thanks for coming. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
And stuttering has has taught me that there are some times when you can work so much with the patient, and yes, you can totally see results and in certain ways, but the stutter will still be there. There's no cure. So sometimes we may go in to like a meeting with a client and then think, all right, cool. We'll do this for like 3 months, and then you'll be good probably.
Mm-hmm.
And stuttering is a lifelong process. I've got a client who she's over 80,
Mm-hmm.
and I see her for stuttering, and it's like, man, just most speech therapists don't really get that. Yeah,
Yeah. And talking about the 80 years old lady, how's her mindset about stuttering? Like, I'm sure 80 years, or say she started stuttering at age 10, 70 years of stuttering. How's her mindset towards stuttering? If you could share that.
it's it is a bit rough.
Bit rough.
She Stuttering dictates much of of still based on who she talks to, what she says, when she says it, what she doesn't say. It it takes over most of her life actually.
And that's the hardest part of it, man, because a lot of people know about stuttering, but they don't know about that part. How, how, like, I'm sure all of us have gone through this. Like, okay, I wanna do this, but I know I'm gonna talk during this process, but I want to avoid that, so I'm not gonna do that. So let's go something else. So I feel we try to avoid situations, and we do miss the opportunity for a lot of things, and that's the whole mental part of it, man. But I want to dig into your social world. I wanna dig into on your TikToks, your Instagram, and all that stuff. I saw one of your videos hit over 1 million followers, so that was awesome. Congrats on that. But how has the reaction been with that? With you promoting your stuttering, how has the comments been? You know how people could be rough, some people could be nice about it, but how's that been for you, man?
That varies for sure. Yeah, I've got quite a few followers on the platforms now, and most of them are fantastic. Well, the people that like consistently watch my stuff, they are so kind and supportive. And I find that it's once my videos reach like surpass the more average views and go really big. That's when we get, I don't know, like trolls
The trolls.
or young kids that are like, oh man, this is so fake, blah 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 blah. Um, dude, just today, I got a private message telling me that I should kill myself, and it's like, well, this sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's surprisingly just when a video goes really big. But then you get loads of those comments, and it's pretty tough to manage sometimes.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to look at it as, all right, most of these people clearly don't know what stuttering is, or else they wouldn't be making comments like that. So I guess that reinforces my motivation to keep spreading awareness and education. So hopefully they don't do that stuff in the future.
Yeah, man. No, for sure. And I'm sure you seem like a strong-minded guy, who's capable of taking those hits here and there. But I'm sure once it goes viral, there's no stopping that. That's gonna be everywhere and stuff like that. But if none of you guys have checked them out, I highly recommend checking them out. Just one last question, man, just to end this here on a high note. Um, what's one piece of advice you will give somebody to who stutters and who is trying to become an SLP, someone who's trying to break out of their shell and start making videos? What's that one piece of advice to tell them, man?
Man, that is a lot of different categories there. Well, just for stutterers in general,
Yeah,
my advice.
stutters in general. We're gonna focus on stutters in general
Yeah,
who wants to make videos and stuff like that.
yeah. My advice is to talk and recognize you will stutter at some point. Just keep talking, and the more you do it, then slightly the easier it becomes. But, but just going into it with the mindset of, okay, I'll stutter at some point. That's okay. It totally sucks, but that's okay. And then for making videos, consistency wins. So make sure that that you put out enough volume that like people can't help but see it. Um, and I've been doing one video per day for like 9 months now, and I've found that consistency has definitely helped with my own mindset of stuttering because I'm constantly addressing it and challenging myself, and my acceptance has increased because of it. So I'm usually able to say what I want to say when I want to say it, knowing that I will stutter, and that's okay.
It's awesome, man. It's great advice, man. It's always the accepting and just do it. So you gotta do, just do it and just let it fly. Well, man, Travis, I want to give you your thanks. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to join in this podcast. As how can somebody follow you? How can somebody become one of your clients? And how can they reach you, man? Because what you're doing is inspirational, and I want them to check you out and follow you, man.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm YouTube and TikTok at Travis dot stuttering, and you can email me at travis.stuttering at gmail.com, and yeah, we can totally work something out there.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, Travis. All right.
Thank you.
We'll stop right here.